will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lost Pulse Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Holy Spirit Blog Talk Radio Show. I'm your host, Minister G.R. Hart, and I thank you all for tuning in. We have a wonderful show for you this evening on the Holy Spirit Radio Show, and one that has somewhat been in the news when you're talking about restaurants and health and people getting sick, employees getting sick, and so forth. Particularly with the Chipotle restaurants, food chain, that have, they actually closed down, I think, the 8th of this month to do over 200-something stores statewide to really revamp those stores and get them cleaned up, but also retrain employees and management staff on how to avoid this type of plague they had going on throughout the stores statewide, and man, it was crazy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, about restaurant food illnesses in itself, but we're also going to talk about why that is. The title of the show tonight is called "Eating at Your Favorite Restaurant." Well, can eating at your favorite restaurant can be hazardous to your health and your family. And this is really serious, people, and it's going to startle you really on why this is, and it's not about bad food and things of that nature. It's basic caring and being professional and treating your workers better is what this thing is all about. So I'm going to dive into this right away because there's so much ground to cover, because I want to talk about the restaurant food illnesses, not paying for sick leave, poor hygienes, low pay equals low standards. If you're going to pay for less, then that's what you're going to get from your employees. That's a guarantee in life. And it's so amazing that when you're dealing with employees, people want the cheapest worker to give the highest production. And you got to be out of your damn mind. It doesn't work like that. You know, just the other day I'm sitting here watching ESPN, and this young guy, I think he just turned 23, I forgot his name, but he's signing a new deal coming up. I think the baseball season starts in April, but he has a new deal coming up, I guess in a month or so. I'm not sure, but nevertheless, they saying this dude is probably going to be paid a half of between $400 and $500 million to hit a damn ball. Entertainment. Somebody's going to pay this man a 10-year contract between $400 and $500 million for entertainment. Now, you and I both can say he damn sure getting overpaid, because you don't know if he's going to get hurt. You don't know if he's going to get hit, get ill. He may have cancer at 24, 25. You don't know. But this guy's getting guaranteed money on the future of something he ain't even done yet. Entertainment again. And real quick, you expect someone to feed you and your family, and you pay him less as possible to feed you and take care of the product in those stores for a low wage, because in your mind that job is irrelevant. Food is one of the most important things on this planet. Food and water. I know shelter is too. But if you ain't got food and water, because many folks ain't got shelter, but if you ain't got food and water, you're going to die. And especially if you don't have healthy food and water. Shout out to my brothers and sisters down there, up there in Flint, Michigan, and hoping that we can get this governor and this mayor fired, or at least resign. So low wages equals low standard. Competitive pricing often will put your guest at risk. People trying to compete with other restaurants sometimes will put the guest at risk. And again, all this falls back on the restaurant and the owners. Cutting corners. I can't tell you how many restaurants cut corners. They start off one way and they end up doing another. And then you also got to talk about, we're going to be talking about paying a better wage. How the hell you going to pay me $2.13 an hour? I never receive a payroll check, but I'm getting money from the customers, from the people that come in and dine with us. And on top of that money, not only do I got to pay taxes, I got to pay the busser, the food runner, the expo in the kitchen, the bartender, the bar back, and even the host out of my wage. That's a win-win for the restaurant, because they ain't paying nothing. They only get to pay a third of that. Do you know how much profit that is for a restaurant? So when all these mom and pops be lying to you, talking about, well, we're barely making it, that's probably because you don't know what the hell you're doing. Number one, but you have no marketing skills. That's on you. Or you're in a bad location. That's on you. So, and then finally, I want to end with this young woman who's been doing incredible work. She has a book coming out called Forked, F-O-R-K-E-D, Forked. And she is a co-founder of an organization called ROC United. Her name is Saru Jayaraman. And one of the articles that was written about her in the New York Times magazine, and I want to say this to all these people who are listening and who are tipped employees. It doesn't have to be restaurants. It could be a bellman or what have you. But I want you to understand something. This woman, she felt the injustice. I'm talking about the co-founder, Saru Jayaraman. She felt the injustice of what was going on with tipped employees and the wage theft. And I forgot about that. We're going to talk about wage theft too. And she basically just started talking about it and then putting it on paper. And I forgot the other co-founder. They created a website for servers to come. And at first they were just talking about the situations, but then they decided to put all these complaints into action. And here she is now with this wonderful organization doing mighty works for people. And the biggest problem I've always said about servers, they always got the mentality, it is what it is. And I've always said that's a lie. There's too damn many of y'all to say it is what it is. It's over 11 million servers. And just in that era, 11 million of you. That's a lot of mighty. That's a mighty lots of people. And until you come together and start really investigating for yourself and galvanizing with people like Saru and other people to unite and stop wage theft, get a better wage, get paid for sick leave, all this stuff goes away. I didn't even talk about the harassment that women get, the sexual harassment from not just the guests, but from managers and other staff members. It's amazing, people. It's amazing. So I saw this wonderful article, man, and I wanted to bring it to you. It was in the Huffington Post Business, and it talked about having safe foods means treating restaurant workers better. And this article was written a few days ago, and his name was Joseph Urbantrot. I hope I'm saying his name right. Urbantrot, who he's a senior reporter for the Huffington Post. Wonderful article he put together that's been floating around. I wanted to bring it to you tonight, and he subtitled it, more employers are offering food workers better pay and benefits than perhaps ever before, but there's still a long way to go. And dealing with the Chipotle, it continues to reel from the food safety crisis, sickening hundreds of people, and withered the fast casual chain store sales and stock prices. And one aspect of the company's fall from glory has gone mostly overlooked. And the cause of two of the company's sick outbreaks were norovirus, and Chipotle's blamed these outbreaks on workers coming to work despite being sick. And the company is one of just a few in the restaurant industry to offer workers paid sick leave, and has reiterated in its response to the outbreak that employees should utilize paid leave and stay home when they're ill. That's a lie. I'm gonna jump right in off the grip. Anybody in this industry, they don't care. They don't. I mean, unless you got a clique going on with the management, you can be hit by a car and bleeding. They will go in there and wrap you up and make you work. And that's the mindset, because for some reason people think anybody in the service industry are worthless. And let's be honest and let's be open about this. And one major thing is this: a lot of companies, when they hire you, they'll sit there, oh yeah, we got sick leave, you mess around and get sick. They're not paying you. I promise you, they ain't paying you. Even when they send you home, you know, there's a law that if you go home, they send you home, then they got to pay for 4 hours. They never pay you. You ain't getting paid. I don't care if you a fast food worker or you a server, you ain't getting paid. You're not getting paid. So for them to blame this on workers coming to work sick, they're coming to work sick because, one, they make minimum wage, they can't afford to stay home, and two, if they did stay home, you're not going to pay them. Do you really think even a minimum wage worker would say, oh, I'm going to get paid today if I stay home sick, but I'm going to go in anyway? They wouldn't come in. That's how that whole thing I just read that was written in this article is a bold-faced lie. Who the hell gonna go to work sick knowing they get paid? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. So Chipotle's policy was already in place at the time of the outbreak occurred. However, a part of a larger cultural problem in the industry. Only about 10% of restaurant workers have paid sick leave, and 60% have reported coming to work sick, risking spreading a bug to both colleagues and customers, according to research from the Restaurant Opportunity Centers. That's the ROC United, ROC, Restaurant Opportunities Center. So more than half the people, if there's 11 million, so you're saying 6 million of them are coming to work knowing they sick. A little over 6 million are coming to work sick. And it's not because they love their job. they have no choice. That's the bad news. But there's good news too. In Forks, this is a new book called Fork. Published I think the first of the month, and the ROC, the Rock United e-magazine, the co-director Saru Jayaraman, she draws on a wealth of research to spotlight not only which restaurants offer paltry wages and benefits to their employees, but also those employers, both small and large, that are doing the opposite. And these restaurants designated by Jayaraman as high road employers are offering paid sick leave and fair wages and upward internal mobility. And by doing so, she argues, they are thriving. She calls them high road. I just told you, that's called a click. Jayaraman recently spoke with the Huffington Post about the restaurant industry's new normal, and this is an interview taken from that. And they asked her, do you think readers of Fork will be surprised by research you're uncovering that so many employers are not offering their workers solid wages and benefits, even in upscale restaurants? And in her book, this is the third book. She said, this is my third book, and my second book, Behind the Kitchen Door, kind of exposed conditions in the industry. I think a lot of people who are reading this book may have read that book, so it's not so much the conditions that are surprising to people. I think what is new and surprising is that there is actually a different way of doing business, and quite a few folks are following it, and it's very profitable to follow that alternative way of doing business. Is what we call the high road. And this misinformation has been spread for so long by national restaurant associations that it's just not possible to provide good wages and benefits and still grow and thrive, that those kind of policies will kill the industry. It's the opposite of what so many fabulous employers are proving through their mere existence and growth. It has been accepted as a natural consequence that if you provide these wages and benefits, jobs will be lost, which, as Ms. Jayaraman says, that's not true. And that's what I'm telling you too. It's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie. I want you, if you get a chance, to Google, or it might be on YouTube, Senator Elizabeth Warren on the tips or restaurant crisis. Wonderful 14-minute video, I think it is, about 14 minutes or so. And she has a chain of restaurants and restaurateurs and you know, big and small chains, and she's asking them about raising the minimum wage and getting servers a higher pay. And she reminds them that if the economy kept up with the salary, if the salaries stayed pace with the economy growing and the prices, gas going up, food going up, everything going up, tuition going up, that right now in 2016 we will be making $22 an hour. That would be, the minimum wage would be $22 an hour. So how the hell you flipping? You tripping over $10 an hour of 15? Like the senator said, Elizabeth Warren. Even if you gave me 15, you're still short of me 7. According to all the economists and all these mathematicians, I still, if you gave me 15 right now, you still owe me 7 to get me up to par in today's economy. Now how's that? So amazing, man. So amazing. And this wonderful article that Chipotle and Huffington Post, the gentleman did, and they're trying. Listen to me, because I'm about to break it down for you. Stuff you don't even know. You know, and they're saying restaurant employees get customers sick because they don't have paid sick leave. That's a lie. If you think these people are getting sick mainly because of employees being sick, That's not true. It may be true to a certain degree, but let me read this thing for you real quick, because I'm looking at this thing about Chipotle. I want to read this to you, and then I'm going to tell you the real truth. So they asked the question, do you think Chipotle's issues are helping people connect the dots on why paid sick leave is so critical, not solely to workers' health, but also the health of customers and the business success overall too? So the response was, I think it's totally eye-opening what's happening to Chipotle. The chain restaurants that are a part of the NRA seem pretty dug into their position in paid sick leave. I have not seen if it will have an impact on their willingness to adopt it, but it doesn't matter. Consumers and legislatures and policymakers are moved by what's happening at Chipotle, and it will force the NRA, that's not the gun, but the National Restaurant Association, the NRA, to move in this direction. For so long we were hearing from the NRA that it was possible, it was not possible, but Chipotle taking this stance proves it is. It proves it's necessary, essential, and has a terrible impact when we don't do it. Now, again, this paid sick leave, because this whole article, they focusing on paid sick leave, which is needed. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not dismissing it at all. What I'm saying is, you should have been paying people. This ain't rocket science. But having this outbreak is what is making them wake the hell up. But I'm about to wake you up even more so in a minute, and then I'm going to talk about wage theft. One of the main reasons people are getting sick in restaurants, and particularly Chipotle, is bad hygiene and poor storage of food. Let me help you out. You want 16, 18, and 20-year-olds to feed you food and be responsible and have the wherewithal to understand that you can't leave that meat out for over 4 hours. You can't leave those vegetables sitting next to that raw chicken. There's all kind of cross-contamination dealing with how they're handling food. You cut chicken and beef and veggies with the same damn knife. You don't sanitize it. You just can't wash the knife off. This stuff has to be sanitized, people. Stations have to be, when you go from chicken to veggies to meat to whatever, to fish or whatever, it has to be sanitized. And these nickel and dime fast food restaurants, these food chains, remember I talked about cutting corners earlier? They're cutting corners. And they're leaving the wherewithal to and they're hiring managers. And listen, I'm not knocking our young people. But if you don't train them, how the hell they gonna know? You can't give them a damn crash course. Half of them are in school or high school or college, and they're trying to study. They got relationships dealing with. They got all this stuff dealing with. When they come to work, it's just a paycheck to them. So they don't have the same value or the same mindset of responsibility as a 27, 37-year-old will have with an apartment, rent to pay, and so on and so forth. So not only are they clueless, but they're careless. They're extremely careless. Because in their mind, and I've heard it from all time, I'm not going to be here. I mean, this job is just paying my cell phone bill or just paying my insurance, and that's it. And you got to understand that, people. That people are getting sick because foods are being cross-contaminated. It's not being stored properly. They're not wearing gloves. They're not sanitizing the spoons or the knives or whatever they're using. They're not disposing of certain product. And yeah, they sneezing over your food. The girls got their playing with their hair. They got the cell phone in their hand and they start handling your food and all kind of stuff going on. And again, they're cutting corners because they're saying, hey, we're paying the minimum, so we ain't going to stress them. And all the while, the consumer is the one that suffers. You'll be amazed at how many people that really get sick from fine dining restaurants and casual dining restaurants, and they get sick and they have no clue because they never thought about that restaurant because it's their favorite. Oh, the food is wonderful. The food is nice. Oh, you know, let me tell you something. Something as simple as lemons can have E. coli and feces in it. Lemons. I worked at a seafood place, and I can't talk too much about it because I'm in litigation of which one it was. But their workers would use the bathroom. I'm talking about the people that prep the food, and this is a high-end restaurant. They would never wash their hands. They would never wear gloves. They would sneeze, slapping each other on the booty, wiping their hands off on their apron that had chicken, fish, all poultry, all veggies, the same apron, never changing out the aprons, using the same damn knife, fixing their food, you know, their cultural food along with the guest food on the same grill, shit they brought from home, or crap they made in the kitchen. They eating barehanded their food while flipping your steak and your salmon over with their bare hands. Again, cutting corners. And nobody says nothing because know why? They're not paying them nothing. So they don't expect too much. As long as they prep it and get it in that cooler, they fine. And you will see eggs, salmon, ham, chicken sitting out for hours. Same fucking table. Same cutting board. Right next to a bathroom that's 1.5 feet away. They prepping all this food, all this high-end food, and all you can smell is shit from there's a male and female bathroom, and all you smell is shit floating out the bathroom. It's deeper than just somebody getting sick. All this stuff I'm telling you, they don't want you to know how they're just simply mishandling your food any damn way they want to. And that's the truth. You got to worry more about all that I just told you and then some. This wonderful article Dr. Craig Maxwell wrote, and he talked about when you eat out, avoid lemons. And he wrote this article a couple of years ago, because people always say water with lemon, water with lemon. Let me help you with
90 seconds.
Let me help you with the water with lemon. So Dr. Craig says here, he says, many of my patients have come in to the office and told me proudly that they've given up drinking soda. Now, when they eat out at a restaurant, they enjoy a chilled glass of water or seltzer with a nice juicy lemon wedge. Imagine their surprise when I tell them they should skip the lemon wedge. So should you. And restaurant lemons are not good for your health. And he says here's why.
60 seconds.
As I just told you, there could be feces in your restaurant lemon. If you're the type who drops the lemon wedge into your water after squeezing that juice, you could be adding feces to your drink. Even though there is a sign on most bathroom walls reminding chefs and waitstaff to wash their hands after using the bathroom, many don't. And this is unfortunate because it is a good way to spread bacteria and disease. I just told you that. And not only are they not washing their hands, they prepping your food right by the toilet. I'm telling you, it's only a foot away. that they're doing is, and you got the bathroom doors wide open after somebody then took a dump. And you got You get all that over your salmon, over your chicken, over your ham, over your prime, all that. And the doctor goes on to say, unlike other vegetables and fruits and food products prepared in the kitchen of your restaurants, lemons don't require washing because nobody eats the skin. It's the same with limes, oranges, and grapefruit. This means any dirt, bacteria, debris, saliva, phlegm, or feces that end up on these fruits will be directly transferred to your glass. And the number one culprit, fecal contamination from employees not washing their hands after using the bathroom. My goodness. It's gross, but it's true. And also he talked about lemons having pesticides in them. After problem with lemons at restaurants, another problem, most of them are not organic because of this. The lemon not only may contain traces of dangerous biological matter, it may be loaded with pesticides as well. According to a Swiss study, pesticides in 38 different chemical compounds were identified in 95% of conventionally grown citrus fruits. Let me say it again. 95% of conventionally grown citrus fruit had 38 different chemical compounds, and you dumping it in your water. A twist of lemon done the right way. A nice refreshing twist of lemon is a great way to enjoy a cold glass of water. The next time you go out to a restaurant, bring a slice of organic lemon with you. Wash it, cut it, and place a wedge or two in a baggie. Order your ice water and wait for the waitress to bring it to your table. Squeeze and plop in your lemon after she's left, and nobody will be wiser. Or just forget the lemon altogether. So amazing, man. So amazing. And it says here, boost your immune system to avoid diseases. No matter how careful you are, you can't avoid all diseases. However, you are meant to have a much stronger and more effective immune system than you probably already do. And 50 years ago or more, a second thought was never given about letting our children play in the dirt, but that's because we didn't have a plethora of synthetic pesticides. Our soil quality was better. Our diet was rich in whole food nutrients. It wasn't processed. GMOs were unheard of. In today's modern society, you need to do everything you can to bolster your immune system and keep it strong. And wonderful article I wanted to bring it to you about, because people love the scream water with lemons, and it's wonderful. Dr. Maxwell, he's the #1 trusted health doctor. If y'all don't know, he's sitting there telling you, man, you might want to bring your own lemons, or organic lemons. And that's another thing too people don't understand. People go to these restaurants talking about, oh, I just want the veggies. They're all GMOs, boo-boo. You're sitting there getting, I just want the broccoli, the asparagus, the spinach, and the Brussels sprout. It's all, I mean, these veggies are huge. You go to a restaurant or even a hotel, you got asparagus looking like markers. That's how big and round they are. Potatoes, I mean, gigantic. Unheard of. Onions, huge. Everything is pesticide and is GMO grown, and you think you're eating healthy. You better be eating that fried chicken. I promise you. No butter. Doesn't do you any good. It's a GMO product. That's why I've always said one thing we're going to have to start doing in today's world, not in the future, right now, is grow our own foods, man. Okay, I want to wrap this thing up real quick, because I'm so overwhelmed with this thing. There's so much to talk about. But I'm going to do a part 2. But I want to talk about the situation that happened in Philadelphia last year about wages. And they were earned, but the people didn't get paid. So tens of thousands of people a week, according to a study. Employers steal money from low-wage workers to the tune of $58 billion a year. But here, dealing in Philadelphia, they failed to compensate them from overtime pay and they paid them less minimum wage, undercount their hours, withhold their tips, or don't pay them at all. So amazing. And I've got to tell y'all about that too. I'm a witness of a general manager at one time. He was in the office. People who had like 43 hours, just a little bit over time, he'd back them up to 39 hours, 40 hours. Most of them were from like Mexico and Guatemala. Some of the brothers were in a halfway house, and that's why he did it. People who won't fight back, and he thought it was funny. This is huge, people. Wage theft is huge. A Temple University study estimates that there are about 90,000 incidents of wage theft in the city every week. He talking about, listen, this is just Philadelphia. 90,000 of wage theft in that city on a weekly basis. Between $51 to $87 per person. Do the math on 90,000 times 87. And that's less than for rent, food, and other necessities, and enough to do real harm to a low income worker. Let me tell you something. $51 out of somebody's check a week, $87 a week out of somebody's check. That's between $250 and $360. Yeah, that's about a light. That's probably a light bill of cable. Even more, such problems are likely to occur as employers adjust to a new U.S. Department of Labor rule guaranteeing workers who earn no more than $50,440 a year. Now, if they make less than that, if they make overtime, they get paid time and a half when they work more than 40 hours a week. So that's an awesome thing. To help ensure that workers are paid what they earn, City Councilman William Greenlee is sponsoring a bill to create a wage theft watchdog in the managing director's office. The wage theft coordinator would respond to workers' complaints as well as seek out victims who don't complain because they don't know their rights or fear retribution. What a shame it is. They have to create a wage theft watchdog in Philadelphia. The U.S. Labor Department and the Philadelphia District Attorney Office already pursued wage theft causes, but supporters of Greenlee bill says the city can do more. The wage theft coordinator would investigate and adjudicate smaller thefts ranging from $100 to $10,000 and would hunt down more abuses, particularly in vulnerable immigrant populations. And the Economic Policy Institute, I want y'all to check this out. It's called the Economic Policy Institute. Google them and look at what I'm trying to tell you. $58 billion a year. Now listen to me. $58 billion a year are stolen from the employers, the owners. But they only recover $1 billion a year. My God. That's not even a drop in the bucket. They steal $58 billion, but they only recover $1 billion. That's so amazing, man. That's so amazing. But that tells you the mentality of the society of how they treat people. This ain't always about the wealthy. This is about greed. And if you want to call it un-American, because it really is. That's un-American. I'm going to go a little further. That's ungodly. For any man to think that you're going to treat somebody like a modern day slave, to work your establishment, to bring you profit after profit after profit, and yet your workers don't enjoy the benefits or reap the rewards of the profits. You look at them and say, well, you got $7.50 an hour. You got to be out of your mind. I really want to bring that to y'all tonight, man, because this whole thing with Chipotle and all that, and them getting on track and paying people for sick leave, it's deeper than that. It's a lot of mess going on in these restaurants you don't know about, and they look so clean up front, and sometimes they clean the back, but what I'm saying is the employees ain't clean. Some of them are undocumented. Like I said, some of them are in a halfway house. You know, some of them come in and work part-time, so they don't have no true attachment to that company. It's just a job. But then you have the fast food workers who are committed to working, coming and getting up 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, taking their kids, drop their kids off in all climates of weather, just to go in there, get there by 6 a.m. and you're going to send them home 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, saying, okay, you go home now. That's not American. That's ungodly. And then you want to go behind their back. Oh my God, she's on welfare. She's getting food stamp. What the hell do you think? $9 billion a year is spent on industry workers, fast food, and service. But I think mainly service, that $9 billion is for service. $9 billion a year. Because they don't make enough money. People aren't paying the gratuity. And that's another thing people don't understand too. That gratuity, they got rid of our gratuity 3 years ago. A lot of guests don't know that. And some who do, they don't give a shit. You can go to a restaurant right now, 20 people. Check fee $1,800. And you don't have to pay that gratuity. You can leave $180, 10%. But they had about 7 servers on that party. So you divide 7 servers into $180. What's that? A little about $20-something a piece. But the restaurant got $1,800, and the servers got $21. And hold on, I'm not done. Out of that $1,800, they got to pay 3.5%, split 7 ways, of course. But now they got to pay to pay the buses, the bar back, the bartender, whatever, what have you. Now they got to pay money. But mind you, the restaurant ain't paid a goddamn thing. Pardon my French. All this money is coming from the worker. Yeah, the restaurant paid the taxes, but that ain't nothing compared to a 3.5% tip out, which is 30%. What I'm saying to you is this, in short: out of that $180, 30%, 3.5, 35% of it, or 35, to be frank, $35 is going to pay other people that the employers employ. So you go from 180 to I think 145 now. So now 145 divided into 7. That's what they walking out the door with. And that's how it's done. And these knuckleheads, so-called owners, are sitting there lying. Got all these lobbyists in D.C. helping to kill bills that don't raise the minimum wage so they can keep making profit. They jacking up the prices in the restaurants, and consumers and people, you see this. But the same workers getting the same amount of money. Even if they've been there 10 years, same freaking amount of money. Maybe a quarter more. Again, everything goes up. And they'll lie, well, and they got the people in front of the service lying. Well, you know, shrimp has gone up, and this is going up, and that going, and that might be true. But hell, why is everything going up but my damn salary? And my wages? That's all I came to say. Listen, my time is up, and I thank you all for joining us. I hope you were inspired by this wonderful show. And again, we urge you guys to share this show with someone, and give us a feedback, man. Follow us on the Holy Spirit Radio Show, and give us a feedback on our Facebook page, and tell us what you think, and give us your experience. And again, Elizabeth Warren, check out her YouTube video dealing with the restaurant. Elizabeth Warren, Rock United, Restaurant Opportunities. Miss Saru Jayaraman, check her out. Go to that page, like her page, and follow her, and see what's going on with this thing, man. And as we always say in parting, to love yourselves is to know yourselves, and to know yourselves comes by spending time with God. We love you guys. Thank you again. Peace and God bless.